we starting recording right now, so thank you for
Okay.
allowing me to do that. And I'm so glad to practice English with you again. For everyone who maybe are watching us right now, I really encourage them to subscribe at our YouTube channel and to maybe send a message to us. Maybe you can be here and practice English with us too. So, Alice, today I choose some topics to talk about. I don't know if you know some informations about this, but I would like to express or to practice our English related to the Statue of Liberty. Did you know anything about the Statue of Liberty?
I I know something about this, but not very much.
Nice.
Because the Statue of Liberty is very famous. It is in New York City, and when I was young, I I I always saw this on TV and on books. So I know it is very famous, but I don't know much knowledge about this. Maybe this statue is for remember some famous event happened in the United States. Maybe it is about some war, but I don't know exactly. I only know that this statue is very famous.
Nice, nice. So today we will study a little bit about it, and but of course the main point of this chapter, which I choose to study with you, is to share some new vocabularies related to New York, related to history and landmarks. And the Statue of Liberty is well known as a great landmarks from the United States, which is we will learn or we will understand better here after we read the stories that the Statue of Liberty was gifted to the United States from France in order to celebrate the United States independence, which means so. It's very interesting, and I would like to start reading it. And after we read this story, we will gonna ask questions about this, about what we learn, what we understand about the topic, and each one can give your answers. And I believe it to be awesome but before we started, I just would like to share with you that this chapter and this book, I have a book which I have been studying for 2 years or almost to 2 years right now. And I started to study with these stories because when I was improving my vocabulary, when I was trying to improve my speaking skills, I started to read out loud. I started to read a lot of magazines and books and things like that. But this specifically was given to me from my last teacher, my last English teacher, who is an American teacher who it was, which means he lived at the United States. He was an English speaker and a natural and uh, native speaker. So I received this book from him, and I'd like to practice because he told me this book and this stories is so helpful for English studies, English learners. That can help us to remember the words, remember the vocabulary, because these are short stories, which can tell us a lot of things about the English language, and at the same time, you can have fun during your study. So let's start with this. I would like to read the stories for you, but I'd like that you pay close attention because after we read these stories, I would like to ask questions for you and for me, of course. We can answer some questions about this story. Okay? Can I start right now? Can I start reading?
Oh, yes.
Okay. The Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty, arguably one of the New York City's most iconic symbols, is a popular tourist attraction for first time visitors to the city. This 150-foot monument was gifted to the United States from France in order to celebrate 100 years of America's independence. The statue is located on Liberty Island, and it is accessible by taking a ferry from 80 Battery Park in New York City or Liberty State Park in Jersey City. When Claire visited the Statue of Liberty for the first time, She instantly admired it as a symbol of freedom. Claire made sure to make a reservation before her visit because only 240 people are permitted to climb the staircase to the top of the statue every day. After climbing almost 400 stairs, Claire received spectacular views of the city from the statue's grove. During her visit, Claire learned that the Statue of Liberty was not always the color that it is now. She found out because the statue exterior is made of copper. The statue oxidized over time, giving it the greenish appearance it has in the present day. When it was first constructed, the statue was the same color as a shiny pin. After touring the Statue of Liberty, Claire spent the rest of the day in New York City visiting other important monuments and historic landmarks. Claire left New York hoping to have had the time to explore more sites, but she can't wait to return to the city in the future. So that's it. That is the story related to the Statue of Liberty. Could you understand? Would you like to read again? If you would like to read, go ahead. I can share with you. You can read again, but it was easy to understand. Did you get it? The information about the Statue of Liberty?
Oh yes, I think I can understand this. It is not very hard.
Exactly. So now, right now, I would like to start make questions about this. And I believe
Okay.
it to be very interesting because there's a lot of questions related to this topic. Let me let me change it here. Let me see if you are watching the same screen which I'm okay. You are watching the same screen which I'm watching right now. So the first question is related to the to that topic which you already asked about. We already read. So choose the correct option. So the number one which we have here is the question: who gifted the Statue of Liberty to the United States in accordance to the short story which we just read it right now? Would you like to answer this question? Who did that? Who showed them?
Uh, okay. The answer is the French.
Nice. So the French, as we read here, I learned a lot of new things on this story, and I didn't know until I read the story that the Statue of Liberty was given for the United States for France. I didn't remember, at least, before I started reading this book. So I learned a new information about that. The second question: what was the Statue of Liberty intended to celebrate? It? Which means why they give it to the United States, the Statue of Liberty.
Uh, this answer is a century of American independence.
Nice, very good. Did you know? Did you ever heard about this story before?
No.
Okay, so we are learning English, and at the same time, we are learning a new story about the America. So,
Yes.
how many people are permitted to climb the stair per day, or how many people are permitted to go and to upstairs about the statue every day?
I don't remember exactly. Maybe it is 400.
No, so just letter C. The right answer is to be the letter C because they told us that at least Claire, before she visited the United States for the first time, she had a wise decision to buy tickets before her visit because just 240 people are permitted to climb the status quo every day, the status quo. So it is the right answer. It to be so letter C here. And let's change for number 4. Which part of the statue did Claire receive spectacular views of the city? And which part?
Uh, Maybe this answer is the eyes.
The eyes. Okay. But the right answer is the crow. The crow. Do you know what is it, crow?
Oh yes, I know. It is this like a height for the
Exactly.
king.
Exactly. Nice, nice. It's almost the same the device, or how can I say, almost the same tool that the kings and the I don't remember the another name, but normally the kings use it in their heads. That's it, to show that they are kings or they have the power. So let me change here. Let's remember here, just like you were reading. So can you see? Let me see what you are seeing. Okay, you are seeing the same screen which I'm doing. So let me change here. So let's remember what we read about the man, how many steps or how many people are permitted to climb the statue's grove. So as we learned, so Claire made sure to make reservations before her visit because only 240 people are permitted to climb the staircase for the top of the statue every day. So the next one, what you thought it was the right answer is after climbing almost 400 stairs, Claire received a spectacular view of the city from the statue's grove. So 400, it will be related to the how many stairs she needed to step up to get the statue's grove. That's impressive. And the next, but not the last but not least, let me see here. Why has is the Statue of Liberty changed color over the time? This is a quite difficult to answer because I didn't know too that the Statue of Liberty was not of the same color as it is now. But would you like to answer? Did you know the answer about this question? Why?
Oh, I think the answer is A, because it is made of copper, and then I don't know how to read this because of some chemistry thing, and it changed its color.
Exactly, exactly. You are right. She found out because the statue exterior is made of copper and the statue oxidized over time, giving it the greenish appearance it has in the present day. So at this, I didn't know about these stories too. I learned this when I was reading this book. So that's why I thought very interesting because we have so many new informations with that we receive it during this conversation. But right now, I would like to ask some questions to see if you learn new words from this story. So there are right now there are any words on this story, this short story, that you consider to be new for you, new to you. Can you remember some things which you never use, some word and maybe you never use it before, you never saw before?
Let me think.
Feel free.
For example, liberty.
Liberty.
Maybe I know this word. I can if I read this, I know its meaning, but I have never used this.
Nice.
Maybe I think in the future I will try to use this new word.
Yeah.
And there
Yeah.
are also some other new words. For example, spectacular. I know this word, and I think it is very easy for me to use this in the future. For example, last time we practiced with each other, I saw I spoke some words such as fantastic, existing, interesting. I think in the future I can use spectacular instead uh, of other words.
Nice, nice. And there are a lot of things. This is just one of the stories which I have been reading. When I would like to study or practice my speaking skills, I decided to, and of course at that time there is no one to practice with me. I decided to start practicing my speaking skills about reading out loud. Reading out loud helped me so much to make pronunciation, to make my mouth form the words. And this is almost the same because as we are talking, are we practicing here our speaking, we are moving our mouths to make the sounds, to form the words. And I believe that reading is one of the best way to improve our vocabulary and our speaking skills. What do you think about it? Have you ever heard any books in English, or are you trying to learn anything in English to help you improve your English? What do you think about reading or reading out loud to be more specific?
I think reading English book may be the most efficient way to learn new vocabularies. I know some people who like to learn new vocabularies from dictionary, but I think this way is not efficient because there are so many vocabularies, and no one can remember all the vocabularies. So I think if we learn from the vocabulary, we can't remember it very well, and some days later we will forget it. But if we learn from books, um, because there are some stories in this book, maybe it is much easier for us to remember the new vocabulary. I have already tried this way. I have read some books about my work, and I really learned a lot of new vocabularies, uh, which is very professional about my work. And now I find that in some scenario, I can use some professional vocabularies in my work.
Nice. It's so interesting because, like you said, it's very important and help us so much when we practice reading because reading makes our brain think in English, makes our brain focus more in English when we are reading. And I believe it's one of the key to succeed in English language. If we have a good habit to reading and frequently, we will learn a lot of words. And like you told, if you choose a short story, which is very interesting. Like we just read a story related to the Statue of Liberty. We learn a lot of things. We learned that it was given to the United States for France in order to celebrate 100 years of American independence. And we learned that it was not the same color as it is now because over the years it was oxidized over the time. And we learned that there are 204 people just permitted to climb the staircase to go to the status quo every day. We learned that too. Just one story. I'm just speaking here because we learned this just in a short story, which just have 3 paragraphs. I believe that it just had 3 paragraphs. So it's very interesting to know that. So as you can see, there are a lot of stories here. There are a lot of stories here. I would like to ask, I don't know if you are able to do it. How is your how are your English reading skills? How is your English reading skills? Are you considered a good reading? You can reading without problems. How is your reading skills?
I think it is very hard to assess my own reading skill. Maybe I think if I let other people to assess my reading skill, it will be more fair. But let me try to do this. For example, I think there is a story which you are showing on the screen. I think it is very easy for me to understand this story. So maybe you can help me assess my reading skill.
Nice, nice. I would like to ask you to read the stories for us, and after that, we can answer the questions related to these stories too. Would you like to? Would you like to try? Like try reading these stories? Let's see how it happened.
Okay, I would like to try, but I think there are some new vocabularies for me, which I don't know how to pronounce. But
No
I would
problem.
like to have a try.
That is why we are here. We are here to learn, and this just so you know, for the first time, when I decided to hire a privacy teacher to help me with my speaking skills and my English, this is the first store that I studied with him. So this is my first contact with a real speaking skills in English. So I learned a lot vocabulary in this store. So this is a very interesting store. But just for you know, it was my first store with my privacy teacher. That's very interesting.
Okay, so let me start to read this story. Strange food. There is a tribe in East Africa called Maasai tribe. The food they eat is very strange, but they live almost entirely on blood and milk. When a Maasai is hungry, he would go up to a cow and with a knife, he will open a vein in its neck and then suck the blood. He will then close with mud the cut he has made. There are many different kinds of food and many different ways of eating. The Chinese and the Japanese, for example, use chopsticks to eat meat. Other people use knives and forks. Others eat with their hands. The food in different countries varies greatly. The English like roast beef and potatoes. The Americans eat such things as hot dogs, hamburgers, and apple pie. The Brazilians like feijoada, and their favorite food is rice and beans. The Chinese make soup from shark's fins. The Portuguese appreciate cold fish, which they call bacalhau. The Italians love their macaroni and pizza, and the French eat strange things like snails and frogs' legs. Eskimos eat whales. It's curious too that people who live in hot parts of the world seem to like hot, peppery food. In Bahia, North Brazil, for instance, the food contains a lot of pepper. In India, which is a very hot country, they eat a lot of curry. In Mexico, they eat tamales, a kind of cake made from crushed corn and red pepper. Personally, I like most of these foods, but the diet of the Maasai tribe doesn't sound very appetizing. That's it? Okay, I finished.
Nice, nice. You read so your reading skills is very good. You read it perfectly. I have no points
Thank
to
you.
say. Yes, I have no points to add here. And let me ask you, did you notice it? Did you understand the story? Did you see or no, did you saw that how strange foods there's from all over the world? Like the park said, the food in different countries varies greatly, which means there's a lot of variety of type of foods and things that people like to eat in their countries and their cultures. So there is a vast of type of foods on the world. But this story gives us a lot of new vocabulary, a lot of new words, especially related to food. Uh, what did you note about that? What did you thinking about, for instance, the eat or the food that the tribe on East Africa are able to eat? What did you thinking about? This is on the first part. What do you think about the first part, which they eat blood and milk?
In my opinion, I think it is really a little strange. Milk is a normal food, but I can't understand blood. Mm, Actually, in China, people will eat, um, how can I say, duck blood. Maybe this also sounds a little strange, but I don't like duck blood. There is a famous dish, which contains duck blood. I never tried this, so I think eating blood is a little strange.
Nice. Me too. Me too. It's depends on the how can I say each country has your own culture. So I know, like we talked about the tribe of the Maasai tribe, for instance, which lives in the East Africa, and it's a real tribe. There is a tribe which is called Maasai tribe. I was watching, I was looking for videos from the YouTube, and I saw that there is exactly same tribe, which means this story is true. People like to the food which they prefer there is blood and milk. And did you notice how they used to get this type of blood? How they get the blood?
Oh, I know. They use a knife. I think how can I say it is a little bad for the cow. Mm, I can't find the right word, I think they use the knife to cut the cow and then suck the blood. Then
It's a
they
little cruel. It's like a little cruel. They are cruel. In Portuguese, we call this cruel, but in English, I don't know if it's cruel. Let me ask you here. Let me Google it here. What is it? The white word to
cruel,
yes, it's
bloody cruel. Oh yes,
cruel.
merciless.
Exactly, merciless. Merciless is the best word. Merciless means without misericordia. Let me see. Cruel. Yes, cruel in Portuguese and English. It's the same. Okay, and merciless. Let me see here. Let me see. Merciless. Okay, imperial, exactly. Merciless is the right word. So as we talked about, it's just to practice our speaking skills. There are a lot of food which is we consider strange food because uh, each country has their own way to think it. But I learned a lot of words related to that. But let me change it right now for the questions to the questions about this story. When we go to down, and I would like to ask you first of all. Answer this question below according to the test. So, first question, letter A is, in what part of the world do the Maasai live? Do you remember?
Oh yes, East Africa.
Exactly. What they live in the East Africa. And let me change it here again. What do they live on? These questions ask us about what type of food, what type of foods they eating on that place. So, what do they live on?
Blood and milk.
Exactly, blood and milk. And the question number C. Uh, question letter C. Sorry. What do the Japanese and the Chinese use to eat with? And what they
It's
use
very
to
easy for me. Chopsticks.
Chopsticks. I learned that. I didn't know exactly the name, but I learned that when I studied this stories, when I read this book, I learned that the right name to this devices, to this tools is chopsticks. I'm right. How can I pronounce this?
Chopsticks. I think
Chopsticks.
you are right.
Okay, chopsticks. Nice. Let me ask a question. Are you eating with, I know it's obvious, but are you used to eat with chopsticks right now?
Yes.
Oh,
Every day I use this.
okay, it's easy enough. I can't see myself eating with that because I don't know if I'm able to pick the food to pick up the food to choose the food. It's easy to eat with that. Like for instance, what type of eating, what type of foods are you? How can I say? Are you able to eat with the chopsticks? Every food, every type of food is easy to eat, or there's a one or two type of food which is not allowed to eat with chopsticks.
I think we can eat all kinds of food except for soup with chopsticks.
Let me ask about rice. Are you able to eat rice with chopsticks?
Yes, I can.
Really?
Oh yes,
Oh,
because we have used this for several years. It is very easy.
but when you pick up rice, because rice is just how can I say, tiny grams, tiny things. But when you try to pick up rice with this, there are no how can I say, they don't follow, they don't drop off from chopsticks, and you must to try again to pick up, or it's easy. I can't imagine eating rice with chopsticks because it's so difficult to pick up the rice. I don't know. I can't see myself doing.
I think it is not very hard for me. I can pick a tiny rice with the chopsticks. But I think sometimes when we are eating rice, we will use chopsticks uh, like a soup. I
There's
don't
other
know.
types.
Oh yes, maybe. I don't know how to say this. There are two sticks in a pair of chopsticks, and we will for example there are two. We will use like this. Then it can work like a soup.
I understand now. Now understand. Now understand. It makes sense. Right now, it's easier in that way. So that's it. Thank you for helping me to understand better this. Uh, then there D. What is diet in the interior of Brazil? Oh, that is difficult for you, but maybe it's easy for me.
Rice and beans.
Oh,
I
yes,
remember this.
yes. Here in Brazil, I believe that the most common plate, the most common food is rice and beans because it's more, how can I say, Brazil is one of the biggest producer from rice, about rice and beans. We have a lot of, it's so easier to get this type of food here in Brazil. So that's why it's considered, how can I say, considered to be our popular or the most food eating on Brazil right now. Um, let me see here. There's another phrase here. North Brazil, for instance, North Brazil. So
Oh,
I live in the south of Brazil. I live in the south of Brazil. So, and the north of Brazil, for instance, do you know the word? Do you know this phrase? For instance, have you ever used this type of phrase here? This type of words?
oh, yes. I think I usually use for example. It is
Yeah,
equal to for instance.
exactly. My teacher told me about this, and this at that starts at that part of my studies. He told me to try to cheat to swap it, try to change my word. For example, my for example, for instance, is more proficient, is more because every person which is learning, which are in the first times contact with English, normally they use more, for example, but for instance, is more polite. It's more the best way. Is more, how can I say, proficient. When you are on the meeting, when you are in the meeting with your boss, maybe you should try, for instance, because it will be different. It will be more polite. I don't know if the right word more polite, but it will be more professional way to say things. For I'd like to give my example, for instance, on the meetings which I participate when I am sometimes when I was sometimes. So if I'd like to impose something and I'm given some ideas for my boss to do something, I'll be asked to give an example. So how can you give it, how can you implement this idea what you are telling me, Alex? So I can say, it's easy. For instance, we could do that, we could say something. Oh, I understood better. So he told me to help me increase my vocabulary, use the two types of word, use for example, but try to use more, for instance. It will be more easy for you when you try to explain your ideas, because sometimes, for example, starts to be more, how can I say, basic language. Try to advance on your English vocabulary using words which means the same, but is not so common ways to use for the English basic speaking. But just for just the idea which my teacher gave me when I was studying, and I thought interesting. And after that, I trying to use more for instance than for example. I use for example sometimes, but it's more common to me use it for instance. But let me try for the next question. Let me change for the next question just for finishing this. Let me see. Letter E. How does a Maasai obtain the blood that he drinks? This question probably you already answered, but I would like to describe how they can do it, how they can use the knife to get, how they go, or where, which part of the cow he used a knife, you know?
Uh, uh, okay. Which kind of knife? Um, which kind of knife? I don't understand.
No, let me give another example here. How they do that, which means how they suck the blood from the cow. So you can just describe it like he's writing. Let me see here. Here, you can just describe this part of the story.
Okay. When they want to get the blood from the cow, they will use a knife, to cut, a vein, on the cow's neck, and then, they will suck the blood from the vein. Then they
Nice.
will make up the cut, using mud.
Yes. Do you know what this means? This phrase here. This phrase. Do you know what this means? This word.
Oh yes, I know. Maybe it is. Let me think how to explain this. There are a lot of this, in our yard, in
Okay.
the on the road. Maybe
Yeah,
it is
it's like the
dirt.
sandy. It's like this exactly like you said. It's like the sandy, but with water, with the sandy water and things like that. It's like a switch, and the sandy water and earth, a little type of earth, a little type of dirty and things like that. But that does not necessarily explain it because it's so difficult to explain this because the word is easier for itself. So we just needed to know how translate this for our native language. But I understand what it is saying. It's just to ask if you know about that because it was new to me at that time when I was studying. I thought, what is it? What is mud? I never searched for mud at that time. So I learned that mud, it's like, in Portuguese, it's called barro or lama. We call the lama in Portuguese. But it's like a little part of soil, a little part of the, let me see here, mud. Let me just, mud, slurry, and English is lama too. Mari, dirty. Dirty is the best way to cinema. It's a synonym to muddy, is dirty. So next question, not the least, but next question I'd like to ask you about. Let me see here. It's difficult to choose here. Okay. How does okay, what kind of food do people who live in hot parts of the world prefer? What do you think about that? Let me let me return
Pepper.
back. Pepper, yes, they like it super. And why? What are you thinking about that? Because have you ever visited? I don't know if China is a warm or a hot place to live, but when it's so hot, when it's so warm, the weather is so hot, we cannot eat pepper. I don't know pepper things. We just needed to water and drinks and things like that to just relax our body, just to refrigerate our body. So, what do you think about that? Have you ever visited any country or any place which is very hot?
And I think in China, we will, sometimes we will eat pepper. We will cook a dish, with pepper, but we don't care about the weather. If it is hot, we will, eat pepper. But when it's cold, we will also eat pepper. So, it is eating pepper in China is not related to, the weather. But some people, in China, would think that, the taste of the pepper is a little strange.
Yeah, I like it a little bit. I like to eat pepper in the middle of my food, in the middle of rice, in the middle of beans, with some other foods, other type of foods. But when it's hot, what the paragraph told us, it is that curious because when it's so hot, because like in Africa, like in the north of Brazil here is a quite hot, quite warm place. It's not so interesting to eat pepper because you need more water. You feel thirsty when you eat a lot of pepper. So that's why they use, because on this place water is not so available as it is on other parts of the world. Because when we live in the hot parts of the world, like desert, like north and northwest of the Brazil, is very, it's quite difficult to eat or to how can I say, to eat this type of things, because you need more, you feel more thirsty. Maybe that's why the paragraph told us something about that, but it's just my opinion. Doesn't matter. I just understand a little bit better, but I believe that's why the paragraph told us. And let me ask you here, what are tomatoes made from? The letter I, sorry. What are tomatoes made from? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly. What
Okay,
is tomato?
tomatoes
Okay,
made
let
from.
us go back to the article. Oh, I know. In Mexico, oh, it is a cake made from crushed corn and red pepper. Oh, I see.
Yeah, tomato. Okay, it's a kind of cake, yes, made from crushed corn and pepper and red pepper. So, what is it? Do you know exactly what is it? Crushed corn.
I know what corn is, but I don't know what is crushed corn.
So let me change it. Crushed. See. It's like
Oh, I
let me
know.
see. Yes, did you search that? Okay.
Yes. Corn. Maybe. Let me think how to explain this. Um, for example, we have this is a corn. It is a whole corn. Then some people will use something uh, to take apart this. Then it will take part into many small parts.
Exactly. It's like this. I just write it for you on the chat. It's like this. Then you open your chat just to see your call chat. I'm
Oh
right? Yeah.
yes, you are texting me Chinese.
Yes, but did you know it's the same in Portuguese? It's
Yes.
the same in Chinese. Is right?
Oh
Is it right?
yes. Yes, it is right.
Okay, I just Google it. I Google it and I choose to write in Chinese just so you know. But that's what interesting. I believe we did. Let me see if there's another question here. I believe we just finished, but let me see if there's another one. Okay. Do you think right now it's a question? It's like a funny question, of course. Do you think that the diet of the Maasai tribe Sounds appetizing. What do you think about the Maasai tribe food, the Maasai tribe type of food? Do you thought interesting? Are you able to eat blood and milk with like them?
No. I think it may taste strange. I don't want to try the blood, and it is merciless. I think I will never eat blood like them. But I can try milk. Mm, I like milk very much.
Right now, we have some other opportunities to practice our speaking skill, to construct sentences by our own example. So the first is, here there are some examples. The Maasai live in West Africa. No, they don't live. There doesn't live in the Maasai, the West Africa. The right way is the Maasai do not live in West Africa. They live in East Africa. So we must correct the sentence. Do you know? So the letter A, the Maasai live in bread and honey. How can you correct this sentence? Because the paragraph doesn't tell us the Maasai live in bread and honey. What the paragraph said for us, the Maasai live. How can you write the sentence?
Okay, I think this is not very difficult. Let me correct this. The Maasai do not live on bread and honey. They live on blood and milk.
Nice, excellent, excellent. That's it. That is the ability to change our mind, to help our brains to think in English. So the Chinese and Japanese use knives and forks to eat with. How can you correct this sentence? They doesn't use it. They does not use the forks and knives to eat, as you told me, and you are a great example for it. So, can you write Can you answer in the right way? Can you put the right way this sentence?
Okay, the Chinese and the Japanese don't use knives and forks to eat with. They use chopsticks to eat with.
Excellent. They don't use the word for negative to negative this, or to make the negative phrase, or to negative the first part and to correct the answer. You use the word do not, or which means don't use. Very good. The letter C, the English eat feijoada. Oh, this is not true. The English eat feijoada. What are you thinking about? What we learn about the storks? The
Okay,
English
the English don't eat feijoada.
feijoada.
They like to they eat toast beef and the tomato and the potatoes.
Exactly. Roast beef and potato. It's like a meaty. It's a type of meaty. Roast beef. Roast beef. We like roast beef in Brazil. Do you like roast beef? Do you eat roast beef in China?
Yes. I like barbecue, but I don't know if this is similar to roast beef. But
It's quite similar. It's quite similar. I believe so.
okay, so no, I think I like roast beef. It is delicious.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Do you like barbecue? You just said that you like barbecue. Barbecue.
Oh yes, I like barbecue.
Okay. How frequently? Let me change a little bit about questions. How frequently do you eat barbecue on your daily routine? Which means
It depends. I can't make barbecue in my house. So if I don't have the equipment for making barbecue. But actually in my home I can make a very simple barbecue. But sometimes on weekends I will go outside to some restaurants to eat a barbecue. Maybe I don't know exactly. It depends. Maybe once a month, sometimes twice a month.
nice, nice. Me too. I do not live in an apartment, but my house is a little quite tiny too. So there's no place to put the tools, the right tools to make a barbecue here at my home. But of course, I can buy I can buy a type of tool to do this. They call which means here in Brazil there are two types of not just two, but there specifically are two types of tools to make barbecue. There is one which is very huge, and you must put them and they must build with your house. They are how can I say, attached to your house. And there are someone which you just buy it. It's like a little barrel. It's like a little barrel, so you can put your things. You can just bought it in the store and bring to your home, and you are able to do it your barbecue on it. I don't know how can I explain that because I never thought. how to explain things like that. That is the magic about our English season, because we bring so many topics, which is very strange, sometimes very difficult to say, because I never thinking about explain in English barbecue. So that is the interesting part of our English. So let's see here. The Chinese make soup from wild whales fins. It's right? Is it right?
Uh, y-
Letter D. The Chinese make soup from whales fins. This is not right. This is not right. I
uh,
believe there's
I
another
know
way.
this is not right, but I don't remember the right answer, because
Yes,
I think we don't make fish make soup from that uh
yes. They,
mentioned
they
in the
start
article. Okay.
they start told us that you the Chinese people like soup from shark's fins. Is it right?
Oh,
Do you like soup for shark fins?
I have never ate shark fins. I think sharks are a little scary.
Yeah. How interesting is this? Because like as we can see here, as you is a Chinese people, we here in Brazil have a lot of understanding about Chinese foods. We have sometimes a lot of interesting questions about what type foods the Chinese people like to eat. But I have been noticing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like I'm saying, I have been noticing since we talked, since we meet each other here by Google Meet, since we started to practice together, I have been noticed that the type of food the Chinese have been eating from at least have been changing at least since 15 years ago from right now have been changed a little bit. How do you see some types of food? Because there are a lot of culture. I know maybe you know someone who are past the 16 or 17 years old. Maybe that type of person will tell us that, oh, at that time we use it to eat, we like it to eat, things like that. But right now we have no how can I say, there are no necessities to eat things like this anymore. We have a lot of other type of food, we have a lot of other things to eat. I don't know, I'm right. Would you like to say anything about that? Because there's a lot of interesting insinuations that Chinese people eat strange foods, eat bad foods. I don't know. Do you think, in your opinion, just tell me about your opinion. Of course, we are not here. We are not owner of the right answers. Of course, it's just our opinion. It's just we talk each other here without any officials answers. It's just two people talking each other. Do you think that since 15 years ago compared to right now, the type of Chinese foods changed a lot? What do you think about your culture, the culture of your country related to food, related to meals? What do you think about that? Because like I told you, there is a lot of speculations about what Chinese people like to eat, and they compare. Sometimes it's like it's not exactly like a Maasai tribe, but there are a lot of things which people when we are reading some articles, people say, this thing I believe just Chinese people like to eat because we don't like to eat this type of thing. So would you like to say anything about that? What do you think about the last 15 years related to food at your country? Change a lot?
Uh, okay. But I think it is a little hard to answer questions about food, because I don't have many vocabularies about food. But I will try to explain this. I think food in China has changed a lot in the past 50 years. Because uh, China has developed very rapidly in the past few decades. So the food quality of people is gradually increasing. For example, I chatted with my mom, and she told me that when she was a teenager, she couldn't find a lot of food to eat. At that time, she could only eat a special kind of rice which is made from corn. Maybe it is made from crushed corn. And she I think she doesn't at that time she didn't have many kinds of food to eat. She couldn't eat milk, and she could she at that time she didn't eat any bread. So let me think how can I explain. At that time, every meal she only ate two kinds of food. The first one is the particular rice. The second one is a particular vegetable, which is not planted by person. Uh, it is it is grown by itself in the mountain. And at that time, people were very poor, and they would go to the mountain to pick this particular vegetable.
Nice,
But now,
nice.
but now we are we are much richer than before, so we have all kinds of food to eat. We eat a lot of food, but every meal we like to eat rice. Uh, we don't usually eat bread. Um, we in China we regard bread as snacks. But in but at lunch and at dinner we eat rice and a lot of dishes which is made from all kinds of food. For instance, fish, meat, and vegetable, and we also eat fruits. Then let me answer another question. Maybe there are some kinds of food that only Chinese people like to eat. Mm, be- I heard that in southern China, people would like to eat snake. I also think it is scary. I am very afraid of snake. I even don't dare to watch the pictures of snakes. I don't know why they like to eat snake, but I will never try that.
Nice, nice. It's very funny the way you explain it. I like it that way. So thank you for your answer. It's just thinking to practice, just to know a little bit about know a little bit more about each country. And like you told, here in Brazil, rice is one of the most popular. Rice and beans, the most popular food here in Brazil. Even 20 years, 30 years ago, it was already rice and beans, the most popular food, because it's cheaper. It's cheaper, and you can eat this a whole month. You have rice and beans at your storage a whole month, and that is not so hard to get in. So, but 30 years ago, let me get back. 30 years ago here in Brazil, rice and beans, okay, rice and beans, we had a lot to opportunity to eat it, and I grew up, to be honest with you. My parents at that time was poor, so very poor. So I just grow it, eating rice and beans, and sometimes a piece of chicken, because we had no money to buy it every time, every meal to buy it or any type of meaty to put on the middle of our dinner. So, but I grew up, I grew eating rice and beans, and that's okay. There's not any wrong with that. But right now, we live in a good part. I believe in the great part of the human lives, which is everything is available. Everything is more accessible for us because we can buy a hamburger. And 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I could not buy a hamburger here in Brazil because it was very expensive. You just need, if you'd like to eat an hamburger, you must go to the McDonald's and things like that, and at that time it was very expensive, so we have no money to do that at my childhood time. But right now I'm so glad that whatever I want to eat, I have accessible ways to eat, and that is very very good. So I'm considered living the best part of my life, and right now related to money, related to technology, and foods, and every part of our basic needs. So we developed so much to in Brazil, but even now there's a lot of strange things which I consider strange things here we eat here in Brazil. One of this is, I don't know how can I say that. Let me try say to you one thing which I consider very strange to eat is piggy foot. You know piggy foot? It's piggy foot. In English, it's like piggy foot. A piggy, do you know piggy? It's an animal. Do you know piggy?
Picky.
Piggy and pork. It's like pork. Let me see. Let me see if piggy is the right way to say. Let me see. Portuguese here. Yes, it's the right word is piggy. Piggy in English. Oh, let me see. Yes, pork too. Pork can be the same. Pork or piggy in English, which is an animal, and they use it to they like to eat foot piggy, which is the like our foot, like our own foot. You know, our foot. When we put our shoes and we put our things, so they like to eat food made by piggy, but just the part of foot of the pig. So it's very strange. Why they eat that? There's anything which is there's no nutrients. There's no good things, good vitamins on this. So why they eat that? It's very strange, and does it doesn't smell very good. So sometimes I remember that I was getting into my grandparents' house, and they were cooking some parts of the pork, some parts of pork, like I don't know how can I call this. Let me see here.
Ear.
Ears of yes, but ears of pig. I don't know, ears of pig and things like that. So here in Brazil, they like to eat. Let me see here. Another thing which I consider so strange. Let me see here.
Pig? Are you saying pig?
Yes.
The foot of pig. Okay. I have 8 days.
Lingua. Let me see. Okay, biltong. There's another thing which they like to eat, and you can you can buy it on the supermarkets. Here is just on the plate. It's just on the plate. You just needed to pick up this at your home, and you just needed to cook it. It's biltong. You know biltong? It's like our tongue, but the coal. You know? Yes, it's the coal. Yes, it's our tongue, which means our slip, our tongue, which means. But it's for the cow, the bull. Bull, it's a type of animal which is parents from the cow. Like we're talking about the Maasai tribe just a few minutes ago. We talk about the Maasai tribe. Bull, exactly, bull. So they like to eat tongue of bull too in Brazil. But I thought it's very disgusting. I don't like it, and I don't know what people like to eat this thing. But there's a lot of things which I just said for you this because there are a lot of strange things in each of country. They eat strange things, so that's normal. But that doesn't mean, like for instance, doesn't mean that every Brazilians like to eat food pork, like to eat bull tongue. It's just a few people, and maybe just older people, maybe more related to older people, because and the young people like to eat a lot of fast food, like to eat a lot of restaurant and things like that. It's not this not make part anymore of our culture. I believe that unfortunately or fortunately, depend on the situation, our culture is losing itself. We are losing our culture because 30 years ago, people like to do a lot of things which they consider to be a Brazilian things, but right now there is not it anymore. We can do whatever we want.
Okay.
That's it, Alice. I believe it. We finished it. We studied a lot of things. I know it's a little bit more quiet study. I'm gonna say we just read it. We're just talking about some articles. I don't know if you like the way, but I just decided to bring this topic because I believe this topic was already how can I say, well, it was ready. I just needed to show you, so I had no time how can I say, to make a presentation to bring to us. So that's why I choose this topic. I chose let's read about the statues of liberty. Let's Statue of Liberty. Let's read about strange food because it was topic which I already have here on my computer. So and I learned a lot of new vocabularies from it. So I thought it was interesting for you, and because we can just know a little bit more about our topics. For instance, let me ask you right now, what did you learn about the Statue of Liberty?
I let me think. I know it was given by French to America, and it is to celebrate the 100 years of American independence, and it is located in the New York City. And if people want to visit the Statue of Liberty, they need to make a reservation first because one day they only allow 240 people to visit this, and there are 400 stairs in the Statue of Liberty. Besides,
Nice.
if people want to see the New York City, they can see the New York City from the crown of the Statue of Liberty. Okay, and I also remember it is made of copper, so its color will change from green to yellow to red.
Yes, exactly. So did you notice how many new informations we learned in English about the Statue of Liberty? So that's why I consider this type of stories, short stories, very useful when we are trying to learn English. So right now you just explained a lot of things about the Statue of Liberty in English. So I don't believe that you learned that before we read. I don't know that if you had the opportunity to understand or to study a little bit more the Statue of Liberty before this English session. But right now, I'm sure that you are able to explain. If someone asked some information about the Statue of Liberty at your country, maybe you know someone who are planning to visit the United States. I don't know, and they ask it something. You can help them say this type of information, which is there are allowed just 240 people to visit the statue every day. So you must to get your reservations. So that is a great advice. So maybe people doesn't know about that. I don't know. So you learn that with our stories. The second part, we learned about strange foods. We stayed so how can I say admired to know that there's a lot of strange food from all over the world. We learn about Chinese, we learn about Brazilian, we learn about English and Americans, and we learn about the Maasai tribe, which is not very appetite. What did you learn about strange foods today? Would you like to say anything?
Okay, from the second article, I learned a lot mm, about strange foods of different parts of people. For example, in Maasai tribe, uh, which is from East Africa, they like to eat blood and milk. And when they want to eat blood, they will use a merciless way to get this. And in China and in China and Japan, people like to use chopsticks, which is very special, because in other parts of the world, people hardly ever use chopsticks, and they even don't know how to use this. And in Brazil, people like to eat beans and rice. Like you said, beans and rice are the main food of the Brazilian people. And in France, they like to eat frogs and snails. I think this is quite strange. This is quite special. Maybe only French people like to eat snails.
Yeah, I never thought this before. I never heard that before. Especially French, because I don't know. I thought French was very, how can I say, uh, fancy people. You know, I thought I had with myself that French people, it was very fancy, very polite. They like to eat things which is very delicious. I don't know. But when I read that article, I stayed, oh, French people eat snails and frogs' legs. What that? I never heard that before. So it's very strange. It was very strange to me because I know, I don't know if you, let me ask, I don't remember. Sometimes, I believe it's 1 month ago, you went to the Europe, right? Some months ago.
Yes.
Okay, so oh, what, where that, how can I say, where did you visit when you go to the Europe? What type of countries did you visit? Can you help me remember?
Okay. I visit Italy, Hungary, Slovenia, and Poland, but they don't eat snails.
Okay, thanks God, thanks God. Because if you visit that place and you didn't eat what they eat, that is not good. Okay, so if you sometime you trying to visit France, remember you must eat frogs and you must yes, how can I say they eat snail. So if you are planning to visit France to see the Eiffel Tower, maybe you should visit these restaurants, because you must eat snails and frogs legs. Don't forget it.
Okay, I will try this. And I heard that the snails in French is delicious. What's delicious?
Oh man, I'm so sorry, but I don't believe you have that courage to eat this, because I do not have this courage. I will never eat this type of things, even though if I'm starving. If I'm starving, I never will eat strange things like snails and frogs' legs. Oh, I hate frogs. I don't know about you. How about you? But I don't like frogs.
Uh,
So
okay. I think frogs is good. I don't like eat scaring animals such as sharks and snakes.
really? Okay. So that's it, Alice. We finished for today. I'm so glad that we have practiced our English today. And unfortunately, our friends did not join us today. I don't know why. I'd like to see that. I will ask them at our English WhatsApp group. But I just would like to remember, because everything that we studied today here, we practice today, is just for the main purpose to develop our English skills. So we made no judgments about any type of foods. We just studied about it. We just learned how to express this in English. So I have no problem with any type of foods. Of course, I don't like so many type of strange foods, but they eat whatever they want. I have nothing to do with. But I just would like to be clear about this, because this video I will upload it on the YouTube. So I'd like to be clear to people who are watching us that we are just practicing speaking skills and just choosing some topics related to food and related to Americans' landmarks. So thank you for your time, Alice. And I hope to see you in our English session tomorrow morning, if you, of course, are available and feel good. And let me ask a quick question. Did you recover from your COVID?
I think I'm pretty good now. I'm 90% recover from COVID, but I find that I am still a little weak. But I think tomorrow I will recover totally.
Yeah, I can say for you that I felt weak after I got second time COVID. I felt weak for at least 30 days after I recovered from the episode. So it's normal. COVID is very aggressive. It's very difficult for our body to recover 100% of our abilities, of our energy. But I hope you'll be fine, you'll be okay as soon as possible. Otherwise, let me remember. I had to say, I had another thing. I remember now. Did you send me yesterday to me, because for you it was today's morning at the Air Country. We practiced together here, and you sent me a picture about the. Let me remember, what is it? The name? Let me see.
Badminton.
Badminton. I believe that's it. Let me just check in. Yes, badminton. I know what is it. I already played. I already played here in Brazil. We call this another way. There's another
Okay.
name here in Brazil, which is totally different. There is nothing to do with the name, but we call this. But sometimes we use the hands. We don't use the rackets. We use just the rings to beat it. And this type of ball. I don't know if you can call this a ball, but it's like something like that. But we use it to play that here at my country. My mom used it to play that too. It's a very famous game I believe some years ago. Right now, I don't see anyone play it anymore, but I know how to play it. I like it to play that. It's very funny, and we can. I don't know if I'm right, but the main rule on this game is we cannot allow this ball achieve the soil, achieve the ground. I'm right with the not.
Yes.
Yes, we cannot leave that. If the person leave the ball, throw it at the soil, or fall on the soil, we lose points. That's it.
Oh yes, and we should let this ball pass through the network. If yes, if it doesn't pass through the network, I will still lose my point.
Okay. It's almost tennis, almost the same like tennis. They change just the ball. Yes, change just the ball, and the ball cannot touch the soil, cannot touch the ground. And if you just allow the ball touch the ground, maybe you lose points. And if you do not able to pass through the grading,
Network, the
the network. Yes, I believe network is the name. If you do not allow this, if you're not able to pass through the ball for another player to receive that another side of the network, maybe you lose points too. So because you are not able to give it push enough, you not push enough the ball to get or to achieve other side. So I know what is it, and I like this type of meeting. I hope you enjoyed. Did you play it today?
No. Because today I am still in my parents' house, but tomorrow I will go back home and I will play badminton with my husband.
Nice, nice. So I hope you can play it soon because it's very funny. So Alice, thank you again. Enjoy your time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope see you tomorrow if you are able. Of course, don't feel pressure to be here. Have been practicing together a lot of times with us, but I hope to see you tomorrow. If you feel good, if you be able to do it. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you. Have a good rest and see you soon.
Okay, have a good day. Goodbye.